What's up guys? Today we're going to be making homemade pizza. So we have a Chef Boyardee mix here. I'll show you guys the ingredients and tools in a minute. So it's a really simple recipe, very versatile, fun, something you can do with your friends or family. Alright, so for the ingredients we have our box of pizza mix. You can use any pizza mix. Flour, which is optional. To grease the pan I use extra virgin olive oil, but any oil can be used. The pizza mix comes with sauce, or you can buy a pizza sauce mix. And then I have some different types of cheeses here. So I have some mozzarella, some Kobe Jack, which was shredded here, and then Monterey and Kobe Jack mix. So I like to use a lot of different cheeses just for more flavor. You can use any cheese, but mozzarella is always a good choice. And then I have a cutting board here. I already diced up the vegetables, and you can see it's poking out a little bit. I have just a wet paper towel to keep the cutting board from slipping around. You can use any veggies you have in your fridge. Right here we have onion, tomato, and mushroom, which are diced up. So you're gonna need a cutting board, sharp knife if you're doing toppings. And then we'll also need a pizza cutter or a knife for that, a can opener, a large spoon, some type of spatula, a fork, and then a pizza pan or a cookie sheet. And you're also going to need a large mixing bowl. First step is to preheat the oven. You want to make sure you have nice clean hands before you start working with the dough. So you want to scrub your hands with soap and very warm water, at least 10 to 15 seconds. Alright, so our next step is to stir together the dry mix with very warm water. We use 1 1/3 cup warm water, and we mix that together in a large mixing bowl. And if it's a little too dry, just add some more water. If it's a little too runny, just add some regular flour. We like to cover it with saran wrap and let it sit for 15 minutes just so the yeast can work in the dough and it will rise. I would take either a cookie sheet or our pizza pie pan, grease it up with whatever kind of oil you have, and then we just turn the dough out onto it already. And then you're just going to take a clean hand and press it and spread it all throughout the pan, which we already kind of did. And then this has been rising on the oven for a little bit, so it's very thick now. And then what we want to do, take your fork and poke holes all throughout the dough. And we do this just so the heat can rise through without the pizza having huge bubbles up in it. So if you don't have a pizza mix, you can also just use plain white flour, yeast, warm water, and a little bit of salt and make your own dough with that. Next up, we're gonna spread the sauce. So can opener here to open this. Open a larger side and a smaller side. That way you can have air coming in here so you have a steady flow of sauce. So we're gonna pour that on the pizza. Always pour a little less than you think because you can just add some more. And then a little trick, turn the pizza, oops. And then you can just leave however much crust you want. If you like a lot of crust, just don't go as far to the edge. So we have our different types of cheese here. If you want to use Parmesan or something that's a little bit finer, make sure you put that underneath this cheese, that way it doesn't burn. So here you can have a lot more creativity. You can think about if you want your toppings underneath the cheese or above the cheese. I like toppings above just because it's a better visual, but if you like your cheese very golden brown, you can put your toppings underneath. So we're just gonna grab a handful of cheese, again, nice clean hands, and just sprinkle it over the pizza, covering up all the sauce so the sauce doesn't burn, and then just getting it all the way up to the edge. That way when we bite into it, we don't have that huge cheese pull away. That way it stays on the pizza nice. So once your cheese is on there, just spread out any parts of the cheese that are a little too thick by just lightly spreading it with the tips of your finger. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our toppings. So all this is up to you. I'm just gonna do half cheese for this pizza. And you wanna get your toppings all the way up to the edges, just like this. Even touching the crust is kind of nice. And then something important about the toppings as well, which you'll see once I use the tomato, is that you want to think about where the center of your pizza is, and you want to have your toppings I would say at least like a quarter or a half inch away from that center line, because once this cooks, it's all gonna kind of melt towards the center just a little bit. If you want to have a nice clean line in the middle, just keep it away from the line just a tad. Alright. Our mushrooms. I would prefer to use fresh mushrooms, but canned is what we had in the kitchen. So I just dice them up a little bit more just because they are a bit salty. That way it's not too much flavor in one bite. Pizza, probably my favorite food just because it's so versatile. There's so many different types of pizza out there. Okay, and then once your toppings are on, just go ahead and pop it in the oven on the center rack. And we'll set our timer. Bake 12 minutes and then we'll rotate and bake for another 12 to 14. Alright, so our timer just got done. We're gonna check our pizza first. So come down here and look. So what we want to do, grab your oven mitt and you want to grab your spatula, and we just want to check the underneath of the pizza, make sure it's nice and brown. Which it is, looks really nice. So grab this out the oven. Set it on top. And just want to make sure we turn the oven off right away before we forget. And then we'll just go ahead and grab our pizza wheel or a sharp knife and go ahead and cut it while it's still hot. That's the easiest time to cut it. Oops. If you want to cut it in 8 slices, just go ahead and make a cross and then another cross the other way. That's good, B. Just grab your serving spatula and bon appetit.
Oh wow, my favorite! It's hot.
Yeah, wait.